Hello and welcome to Hot Pursuit. Today, joining me from Nicosia, Northern Cyprus, my esteemed colleague Hasan Kahvecioğlu. Welcome, Hasan. Good to have you here.
Thank you for being together.
Let's evaluate the visit by Turkish President Erdogan to Northern Cyprus. It was filled with statements, symbols, and sort of breaking news. One is about his so-called good news to Turk Cypriots about the building of the presidential complex and the new parliament building. That's the one. And second one is the Varosha issue. 3.5% of the Varosha, Erdogan said, will be opened. In short, let's look at these 2 points and what it means. He also mentioned regarding Varosha leaving the country, saying that Varosha should be. Why not? Varosha should not be open to people from North Cyprus to buy property. Also from people from Turkey buying property there. That is also to be added. Let's begin with the presidential complex and parliament building project. What does it mean? Will it be accepted? What will be the repercussions of this statement?
Yes, the visit of Mr. Erdogan to northern part of Cyprus, I think from it's weeks now that they prepared the ground as a political attempt internally and externally to gain some, sympathy from the nationalist community. And I focused on this because it's very important that Erdogan, since last October, he started to use Cyprus issue as the only one potato in his hand. We are saying that it is a hot potato, but for him, it is a potato to work with it, to play with it, and to gain the votes or the support of the nationalist community, even in Turkey or in Cyprus, northern Cyprus. So totally, it was a bilateral action, of course, to say that he is going to, to build a palace for Turkish Cypriots, that it is not a need and nobody cares about the palace. Turkish Cypriots are not in a need to have new parliament building or to have new palace for presidency. And I have a worry that any diplomatic force or representatives in Cyprus most probably will not visit this palace, because it will build on Greek Cypriot properties. And this is a great reason for the external community not to attend in any meeting taking place on this property. So this is another.
As far as I understand, this property that the presidential complex and parliament building will be built on is pledged by former President Mustafa Akıncı as a huge green area with parks and playgrounds, etc., for the people. So this green area will basically have disappeared.
Yes.
That too.
It was around 500 donums, green area.
500 acres. 500 acres.
No, 500 donums. 540 donums, that it was under the military status, and they changed the status. They gave it to the civil authority, and they prepared the project. It was a huge and very green project for capital Nicosia, and we were expecting to start the structure in this way. It was covering a big open air theater, amphitheater, and lakes. It was very nice project, and they spent a huge money to prepare the project. But now they cancel it and they will fill it of cement, let me say. So I am expecting the Nicosia people to stand up with the leading of Nicosia municipality, and maybe they will open a case, a legal case against the action, and we will see some, maybe we will see some in these legal actions. We will see also a civil actions, civil stance, civil fightings against the decision. So this will be a chaotic future for Turkish Cypriots to fight with this new attempt.
Quite painful and acrimonious process is ahead, as far as I understand.
For sure. It is not a need, it was not a need, and it will not be a need. This is not in our agenda.
One could imagine also the opposition, the leftist opposition, and the opposition in general in Northern Cyprus will also resist, as it did resist to the visit of Erdogan in the weeks and months ahead. So let's wait and see what happens with that. Let's move to the Varosha issue, Maraş-Varosha issue.
We can go, yes, we can go, Yavuz, but let me tell you that the movement of two left-wing pro-solution parties stand for the addressing of Erdogan. It was very, very strong, and it was coming from the real Turkish Cypriot community. This stand makes some changes, I think, in the speech of Erdogan, and he didn't mention even this stand of the opposition parties. And as you know, they removed the chairs of the seats of the opposition members from the parliament building. So it was very, but they miss it and they hide it from the Turkish media. Nobody knows that these two parties stand and they protest Erdogan's addressing.
Let's move to Varosha, Maraş issue.
Yes.
Erdogan stated that 3.5%. One wonders why 3.45 and not 5 or 7 or 2. That too, but 3.5% of the Varosha area will be opened, and it will be open to the civilians, etc., etc. And also, in relation to that, he restated that there will no more be any issue like South Cyprus, North Cyprus. It will be two-state solution. It will need to be. It will need to come to the point that the North Cyprus should be the counterpart, and it will be the counterpart to negotiate two-state solution. But let's begin with Varosha. What does it mean? What is the thinking, reasoning behind this?
Yavuz, as you know, after Crans-Montana, Varosha case opened by Turkey under the hands of Erdogan. He mentioned this, and he showed to the world that he has the power on Varosha, and he is ready to have some kind of bargaining with the political powers of the world. And he succeeded this, because many leaders of the world called him not to make any step forward regarding Varosha on the issue. Erdogan this time, before Erdogan, Ersin Tatar mentioned this 3.5% they will open, and they will change the military status from military status to civilian status. This means they will give the chance to the Greek Cypriot property owners to apply to this immovable property commission. So for them, this 3.5, which is very, very small part of the whole fenced area, this is a pilot, something, and they are trying to measure the reactions of the world. So it is some step to
some test case.
It is completely test case. As you know, in this immovable property commission law says that any Greek Cypriots can apply to this commission, and there are three solutions: restitution, exchange, and compensation. So in this, to have these three alternatives, the property should be in the civilian area, not in the military area. And what was expecting from these sources, the nationalist sources, let me say, or generally they were expecting to open the whole Varosha area, not only 3.5, because the project was, I have to say this, the project was to make divisions within the Greek Cypriot community. And they did it. Now there is a huge, discussion in the Greek Cypriot community. There are one party, Famagustanians, those who are coming from Famagusta, from this area. Some of them are defending to go there, even it is under Turkish occupation. And some of them, that Greek Cypriot administration urged them not to go. So they will start to say to each other, traitors, you are going to, and you accept the Turkish administration, this and that. So it will be also a chaotic situation for Greek Cypriots. And this test case is going to make this, to see the situation among the Greek Cypriots and to make another step. 3.5, the meaning of 3.5 is this.
Meaning of 3.5 regarding domestic Cyprus communities and driving a wedge within the Greek Cypriot community. But it also sent, regardless, a message to the world outside Cyprus. And there were reactions immediately from Washington, D.C., from France, from Austria, and even Egypt, and many other countries or personalities reacted to this, and France decided or declared that it would take the issue to UN Security Council, which is imminent. It seems imminent. So this message to the international community seems to have backfired strongly. How should we explain that?
Dear Yavuz, it was in the project. It was Erdogan's and Ersin Tatar's expectation to make a fuss, a big fuss in the international community, and to make them to speak with Erdogan, because Erdogan was completely alone last weeks. And as I said before, Cyprus was the only issue in his hands to make a maneuver. So it was for him, it is a big advantage to receive a call from the leaders of the world, and again to give a message, to send a message to his own community that he is a brave, he is fighting against these enemies. So it was completely bilateral, action, this Marash issue. But when it comes to the internal politics, even in Turkey and northern part of Cyprus, they created the atmosphere that they are doing a very big, heroic and big, brave stand, because they are advocating that all these properties are belonging to Ottomans, and they are trying to shape even this place in an Ottoman style, parks, Ottoman style palaces, even a small mosque. They prepared, it was the first step. They launched a small mosque there.
A small masjid was
yes.
the first building that was launched in Varosha area.
Yes, for sure. So these things, when it comes to internal politics, they think that it is gaining, it is helping to gain more support from the nationalist community. So they are playing this game, they are doing this bilateral without asking Turkish Cypriots, without have any initiative from Turkish Cypriots. It is completely controlled by Erdogan directly himself. Can you imagine?
But it's unilateral, one-sided step.
One-sided action. Can you imagine?
What to expect now?
I'm expecting a huge reaction from the international community. I saw the signs of this. I don't think that the international community will allow Erdogan to make whatever he wants in Cyprus. And sometimes he is doing this. Sometimes I see that he is one step backward. Sometimes he's doing, even in his speech. Today's speeches were very, warm. It was not a peak like he did before. And after these two speeches, when he went to Ankara or to Istanbul, and he made a meeting with the AKP youth organizations, he said many things against this, more strong things, that he will, he will work for a recognition of TRNC or this type of things. But here, he didn't mention all these things. Even in front of the Azerbaijan committee, the Azerbaijan MPs, he didn't do this. He didn't do this. He was very careful. So he took in the account that to protect himself from the huge reactions. I'm expecting this. I'm expecting more reactions from EU, especially I'm expecting more reactions from EU.
By the way we look at it, it seems almost entirely a series of steps led by Varosha from Erdogan's side from domestic policy consumption purposes. He's
completely is correct.
He's building, as far as I understand, if I understand you correctly, building an atmosphere where he could, convert to domestic policies, saying that, look, the entire West, entire international community is against me, against you. And also, maybe on the other side, he's also, he may be preparing for early elections in Northern Cyprus by these steps. Is it the correct observation?
Yes, it is. It is correct because we are on the way to snap elections. There is no other alternative because Parliament that they are trying to build a new building now is not. Parliament here cannot make any meeting because the numbers to open the meeting is not enough. It is a minority government that rules the country. So it's a huge need for early elections, and opposition parties are asking for it and they are pressing enough for it. But there is no any compromise on the date of the early elections. But after these actions, I think that they prepare a huge ground, especially the budget issues are helping them too much. They are spending a lot of money. So for AKP, I think there are two things: give money and make business. I think this is their approach, new approach in Cyprus. Let me tell you that before the corona case, before the COVID-19 started, Turkish Cypriot budget was not having any deficit. After this, they started to make huge deficit, and because of wrong decisions. Now in North Cyprus, you can make PCR without any payment. So every day, thousands of PCRs are marketing by private laboratories. So this money is coming from AKP. They are controlling the whole health situation. So via North Cyprus, they are spending a huge money and they are doing a business here. And all these things are preparing for the new elections to have UBP as their representative here, Ersin Tatar's party.
Thank you, Hasan Kahvecioğlu, for joining me from Nicosia. My esteemed colleague, Hasan Kahvecioğlu, and I, we attempted to read into what was going on behind the scenes and behind the reasoning of President Erdogan's visit to Northern Cyprus, and what the possible consequences, repercussions will be, especially through the expected meeting of the UN Security Council regarding his declaration of opening 3.5% of Varosha fenced area, military area, a northern part of the island. Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you. Dark days for Cypriots are coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.